Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome to the next Eternal News. We got more spoilers to talk about, as I promised in the last episode. Today we're finally gonna talk about the Spellcraft mechanic and all the Spellcraft spoilers so far. So let's dive right in. Okay, so first we have Welding Torch. That's like kind of the worst Spellcraft weapon of the ones we know. It's basically just like a 4 cost +3/+2 weapon, which is not very good for 4. So you really need to pay 7 to get full value out of this, and for 7 it's still not that great. So in Constructed this is unplayable, but in Limited this is probably still pretty decent, since for example like buffing one of your flyers and torching an opposing flyer or something is a pretty good deal. But yeah, outside of Limited this card's unplayable. Next we have Sword of Unity. This is a bit more interesting of a card. So it's a 4 cost +2/+2 weapon that gives lifesteal and overarm. So just for 4 the card is a bit underpowered, unfortunately, although lifesteal is really strong, but it also costs double time, double justice, so heavy influence requirements, and effectively without the Spellcraft worse than Bloodletter, like way worse than Bloodletter basically. Since the one lifesteal hit from Bloodletter usually is enough to have enough impact so that another hit with lifesteal wouldn't make that much of a difference anymore anyway. And Overwhelm is definitely a lot worse than +1/+1 in stats and also being cheaper. So this card basically needs to be played as a 6-drop with Spellcraft to be worth it, but then it's a pretty good deal. Since 6 power for basically +3/+3, Aegis, lifesteal and overwhelm, and +1/+1 and Aegis for the rest of your other units is a pretty great deal, and the big lifesteal Aegis unit is gonna be impossible to raise and win you most races and combats. So yeah, this is potentially interesting in like a small amount as like a 1 or 2 off, or as like a market card maybe, stuff like that. But it's gonna be a bit more fringe, but it's not unplayable in Constructed, and in Limited this card is kind of a bomb. Next we have Leeming Shield. Unfortunately I couldn't find a better picture of this without the white frame, so we'll have to take the ugly version. Leeming Shield, 5 power +1/+3. On summon the wielder gets an Aegis, so +1/+3 and Aegis. And yeah, the Spellcraft, we get to play a mirror image, so basically since the Aegis is not on the weapon but on the unit, like a weapon that says Aegis usually means the weapon has Aegis, which still protects the wielder, but it's part of the weapon. This way it's made so that the unit gets the Aegis, so if you copy the Gleaming Shield wearer with mirror image, you actually copy the Aegis, because if the Aegis would be on the shield, like on Short Barrel for example, you wouldn't get an Aegis on the unit you mirror image. So yeah, in Constructed this is way too clunky and basically bad without the Spellcraft, and even with the Spellcraft it's only decent. But in Limited this is a pretty powerful 7-drop, I think. Like imagine this on a solid flyer or like a good ground unit. Suddenly you have 2 pretty annoying threats with Aegis. Seems like a great deal, but yeah, in Constructed not so much. Next we have Vanquisher's Blade. This is a really cool weapon, if you ask me. First of all, 2 power +2/+2 for double justice is a decent weapon, so if you have weapon synergies and Warcry and stuff, this is already pretty good. Then as a bonus, cards can't leave the enemy void, so there's like some nice utility here, suppressing Dawnwalker, Haunting Scream and that type of stuff in the process, but the real bonus is the Spellcraft 3 playing a Vanquish. Getting to put more Vanquishes in your deck without having potential dead cards is amazing, and 5 cost is still a pretty decent deal for a Vanquish with all the other stuff attached. Like imagine this in Ardenport midrange. In some number, this is basically an auto-inclusion in my book. It allows you to play more removal in the matchups where you need to, without having like more bad removal against control, for example, or against small decks where Vanquish is bad, but allows you to have more stuff against other mid-range decks with a lot of fatties, especially time decks. And also the +2/+2 weapon is decent on Commando for like lifesteal races, and it's another weapon to hit with Tavrot, so there's a lot of nice things going on with this card. I really like it, and in limited this card is a bomb as well. Next we have Copper Hall Bracers. This is a bit more narrow, but still not unplayable if you ask me. Double Justice 3 +4/+0. This card is basically meant to be a 4-drop. But the nice thing is, as a 4-drop you basically get +4/+0 permanently on the unit of your choice, preferably a quick draw unit, say Champion of Glory. And in addition, your entire team is immune to damage for 1 turn. So you can just attack with whomever into whatever and the opponent can't do anything about it. And you might even get some value out of it. Like the drawing Justice Sigil part is the least relevant. But all in all, the card has some pretty nice potential in highly aggressive decks. It's going to be very niche, but there might be one deck that this card makes or breaks, basically, to give it like its hard punch, basically. And in limited, this card seems pretty nice and decent as well. Next we have Horrifying Hell. The 1-cost weapon gives +0/+3, and for 4 you can play it to also play a Scare. Most people probably don't remember what the card does. Before you go look it up, Scare costs 2 and swaps the stats of a unit, like the attack and health of a unit. So for example, you can put this on a unit and then swap their stats, turn a defensive unit into an offensive unit, or the other way around. I'm not 100% sure how Scare works with the weapon, if it's gonna turn this effectively into a +3/+0 weapon if you use the Scare part, or if the weapon stats are not going to be swapped. I'm actually not sure. So let me know in the comments if you know for sure how that works. But yeah, this card's pretty underwhelming. And last but not least, we have Alchemist's Concoction. Cost 1, gives no stats, only on summon the wielder gets a random battle skill, and for Spellcraft 4 you can play an Alchemical Blast. So basically for 5 power you get an Alchemical Blast and a random battle skill to a unit of your choice. Not very good, but like maybe an okay filler in limited, basically. But other than that, the card's pretty bad in my book. So yeah, that's it again. We're done. Back to the Welding Torch. And that's it for all the Spellcraft cards that we officially have now. There's at least one more that we know of. The Cerso's Cleaver is what it's most likely called by like community translations of the Russian League. I didn't include it for now because we're gonna get the official version soon. And maybe some more Spellcraft weapons. But yeah, I think the mechanic is kind of cool. It's very similar to Kicker in Magic. Gives you like something additional, powerful and valuable to do with extra power, and gives you like a flexibility. You can play the card cheap with less impact, or later more expensive or a lot more value. And that's always good to have something that works like early and late. So yeah, nice mechanic. Couple of good implementations of it, a couple of bad ones. We'll see what the rest of the Spellcraft weapons look like. And yeah, that's it again for today. You can find the article on Spellcraft down here, where it explains the mechanic in depth and goes over how it works in the game then. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on the notification icon to not miss out on future news and content. And that's it again for today. This was Eternal News with the Spellcraft mechanic spoilers, and I'm Manu S. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!